today we have the designer of Takoon, Charles Queguiner. When did Takoon say, all right, Charles, go ahead, do a proto, let's get into it?
I saw a lot of issues. Probably some people riding for a long time maybe didn't see.
So let's start talking about your parawing lineup, man. I have here the bar.
Very happy about this bar because it slides, it's full carbon molded. We wanted to get like the less bridles possible on the front lines.
The first time I pulled it out of the bag, and when I went to do a stow, I'm like, oh, there is only 4 here. You guys changed the shape of the parawing quite a lot compared to other brands.
There was more instability on the tips. We wanted to reduce this cord on the sides.
We can see in the background there's a little hollow, something being built there.
We reduced drastically the weight of the board. You don't get the swing weight of a big board. The ability of turning is mind-blowing, honestly.
Charles, you guys also developed some accessories.
We wanted to try to attach from the sides.
I really love those big paradigm shifts, aluminium mast to carbon mast, hollow boards and conventional board, tuttle mast versus the plate mast.
I think maybe in the future of parawinging,
Welcome to the LabRat Foiler Podcast. My name is Dan, and today we have the designer of Takoon, Charles Queguiner. I hope I pronounced that right. Welcome to the podcast, man. We've been trying to line this one up for a little while, but I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Charles, I'm excited to talk about the Takoon parawings. You guys, not that recently now. When did you guys launch the clouds to the market?
It was early December, I think.
Early December, yeah. Well, kind of recent. I had a chance to try them, and both the Cloud and the Cloud 1. We're definitely going to talk about the innovations that you brought to the market with those parawings. But before we get into that, you have boards, you have accessories, a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I want to just understand a little bit more about you, your history in sports, and how did you land, in Takoon designing parawings, man?
Yeah, it's long story, but I will try to be short.
We've got time.
So originally I'm engineer, and I was engineer for Decathlon. Maybe you know this big brand.
Yes.
It's a huge brand in Europe and I think all over the world. So I was engineer for water sports in Decathlon. So I was really to surfing that days, and after kite surfing also. And when the winging and foiling appears, I was really I saw the potential. It was crazy. So, oh my God, I need to try this. I need to do it. But these days, I didn't have much money. So I was like, how can I do to use these features and go for it? So I made board, I made a wing. Actually, I designed a wing without the software we currently using. But I designed a wing, and we have a lot of facilities in Decathlon. We can stitch, we can weld. So I made a wing myself.
Yep.
And this is how I went into winging. So just because I was so interested in it, I wanted to make it myself and try it. And also these days it was super expensive. So it was a good way to make the entry in the sport,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so after that, I was really into winging, and I wanted to work for wing in Decathlon, but they were not ready yet to enter this. So I tried I was so focused on this, like crazy. So I told myself, okay, I need to find a way to work on this, like a designer or engineer or whatever. And so actually I asked two French companies, Takoon and another one, very famous one. And both of these companies, they told me, okay, let's have an interview. And then they were like, okay, we want you to work with us. But one company, very famous one, told me you have to be in Montpellier.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was not really my stuff. I live in the southwest of France, more wavy spots. And I was like, no, I want to stay, if possible, in my place. And Takoon told me, okay, we want to work with you. And I asked, okay, can I work from where I live right now? Because I have waves, I have wind, not super good wind, but I have wind. And it's good to test, to develop, to do a lot of things. And they told me, let's go for it. And this is our one hunter Takoon. First, I was engineer. There was like a product manager managing the range, and slowly I started to get some more confidence in the brand, more confidence from my boss also. And now I'm engineer, designer, and also a product manager. I do a lot of different stuff. But manage a lot of different products. But we do, like, we are super efficient, so it works well.
Yeah,
I
love that.
We are not huge company, but we are super efficient. So that's the thing.
I like that, man, because a lot of the industry is driven by passion, and I think when you have just motivated people that are willing to try and explore, I mean, you can really see that reflected in the parawings you developed. It's very different from other parawings I've tried and other parawings in the market. And what year did you join Takoon then? Was it a couple of years ago, or was it really recent?
It was 4 years ago, a bit
4
more or
years
less.
ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And when did you actually see a parawing for the first time? Because you were already in Takoon while the parawings came out. So what was the reaction in Takoon when they first launched?
Yeah, so I remember very well. It was a video I saw. It was Wood River. I don't remember exactly who was the rider, but I saw this. I was like, I was just trying to start to do some downwind, like with the paddle.
Yes.
I was like, wow, this is so difficult. And I saw this. I was like, there is something. So first, I only saw this video and I told myself, okay, it's super good for downwind. I didn't see the potential of it yet, about just like navigating.
Yeah.
But after, well, we know where we know right now, it's crazy. The potential is huge. But at the time, I was more seeing this as a tool to go downwind, actually. So when I saw this, I was like, we need to try one. And my boss were like, okay, we have lot of other projects to do. So maybe a bit later. And now it's getting crazy.
I know. So when did you guys internally say, okay, this parawinging thing is something we want to pursue? Because not a small brand, but a smaller brand has definitely limited resources when, you can't just put 2-3 people in a project. Everybody has their hands on many pies. So when did Takoon say, all right, Charles, go ahead, do a proto, let's get into it?
It was pretty recently, November 2024.
Yep.
So we've tried doing a parawing. First, we didn't try parawing, so we made a parawing. We're like, okay, we don't know really because we didn't have a lot of money to buy some of competitors. So we made a parawing. We were like, okay, it goes, you can stand up, go downwind. it's okay. But I didn't, as I said, I didn't see the potential before. But just going upwind that well. So after a few tests, I was like, I test other brands. Honestly, it was super interested to see the big potential. Some other brands were really good at it in terms of upwind and stability, everything. So I told my boss, okay, we have to do it the right way. We need to put a lot of energy in it and just not do like a kind of bag with lines, We need to do like some proper good parawing.
Yeah.
And we need to put a lot of energy in it. And we did a lot of testing. And we are super happy about the results we had, because the testing, we tried to take the good stuff we liked from parawings. We tried other good stuff from others. And I think we found a good compromise. I mean, there is a lot of work to do, obviously, to get even better. But I think for first real parawing, we are ticking a lot of boxes in terms of upwind, stability, stashability, and that's it. And I know we have a lot of work to do, especially on big sizes, honestly, because big sizes are a real thing. It's more
harder,
more difficult.
Yeah,
but I think we did quite good on this first cloud.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think it's cool to. I mean, I have a bachelor in industrial design, so I love the design process and creating products and all that stuff. So I'm curious to know, like, when you created your first prototype, who was riding it? Who was testing it? How did you guys internally work through it? And like, how hard is it to do a parawing? Like, how many iterations did you guys go through before you said, we're ready to go to the market with this one?
Well, we did a lot of samples, but first, the clue, we did a first platform, first canopy, and we did some kind of random bridles, because we didn't know really what we wanted. And the first canopy was fine, but the bridles was a mess. So we redid it. I spent actually 1 week in Fuerteventura in Canary Islands to get some proper wind and redo all the bridles one by one. It was crazy to get something like stable and upwind enough. And starting from this, we learned a lot on this first canopy and first bridles, and but we wanted to change. We noticed we wanted to change the platform, because we made it like a way. It was good, but not good enough. So we made this kind of specific outline. You noticed it's not like rectangular outlines.
Yeah.
Because we felt like there was a lot of perturbations on the tips due to when you're riding close to the water. The air close to the water is quite dirty, the dirty air. So we wanted to reduce the tips, because the efficiency of the tips, we thought it's not good enough. If we do put a lot of cord in the tips, it's not efficient enough. So we prefer to put more cord in the center to get more efficiency in the sorter profiles. And then, starting from this new canopy, we improved the bridles, and that's it. We were pretty much like from one canopy to a better one, and then when we thought the canopy was good enough, we changed we made a lot of iteration on bridles, which was the other big topic.
Oh man, I I participated in a little bit of some product development when I was in Hood River, and man, I know how much time you spend doing little bowline knots on on the bridles
Crazy.
just to try things, and it literally takes like maybe 40 minutes, 45, like an hour to get it right, to do some, some changes, get back in the water and test it. Do you have any other riders testing, or was it mainly you, or was it a group of people kind of riding it?
Actually, for this one, it was only me.
Mm-hmm.
But for the next generation, we will involve more people because I think now, I mean, I know what I'm doing, but the sport evolves so fast that
Yeah.
I need more feedback from other customers or riders or whatever. But yeah, you're right. The thing, like my friends say, "Oh, you have a very good job. You're always in the water." But no, actually, no.
You're
Uh,
doing knots on the sand.
like exactly, I'm always on the sand doing some changes, going back, swimming,
Yeah.
going back again to make some changes. It's crazy, honestly. But I love it. It's as you said, it's passionate. So.
Yeah, man. I think once you get the parawing bug, it's pretty hard to think about anything else. I talk to people that are just getting into the sport now, and you get reminded of how hard it is at the start just to get your head around, a parawing and be comfortable with it in the water. Do you remember what that was like for you? And was it like as you were developing the product, you were also learning to ride? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, actually, yes. I totally learn and develop at the same times.
That's
So
crazy.
actually, it's good because I saw a lot of issues that probably some people riding for a long time maybe didn't see. So
Mm-hmm.
also that's why I think the Cloud it's quite user friendly parawing because I wanted something super easy, like going to the Zenith super easy and easy to start, good upwind. I know some features can be better, but I think to start this sport, it's really user friendly. Also, this when I started to develop it, there was like, for example, some brands without color matching bridles or colored canopy. And I was like, directly, this is something I was like, no fucking way.
You
It's
need it.
not,
Yeah.
you need it because you're getting crazy in the water.
Yeah.
It's difficult enough to you have to get some help from the brands,
Mm. I mean, and it's important because I think as you progress in the sport and you begin to ride and you get very comfortable with everything, you forget how hard it is to start. And those user friendly features in the parawing, I find, are still pretty relevant. Having those leading edge, different color bridles, different color. All those things are helpful. So let's start talking about your parawing lineup, man. You have a couple of models for different things. So why don't you talk us through the lineup of Takoon for parawinging?
Yeah, so we have the Cloud. The Cloud is we developed the Cloud originally. We wanted like user friendly parawing, as I said, good upwind, good stability,
Mm-hmm.
and good deep power also. I've tried some parawings. It was like pretty hard to deep power, and I thought like we need some good deep power because when you're starting a sport also, you don't want to get. I remember I started winging. I had one wing. 5 meter, I was going 30 knots in 30 knots with 5 meters, but
Yeah.
it was fine. And I think a lot of people they want to start parawing with just one parawing.
Yeah.
So we wanted like to get a range. Even parawing is not right now. It's not the biggest part of for the range of the wing. Still, we wanted to make it large as possible.
Yeah.
So that's it. And also we wanted something light for people who start that flies super well, super easy. So the material was super important for us also. So we decided to use the Skytex 32 from Porsche. It works super good, and a lot of brands use it, and so it was a good feature also. And then when we finished to develop it, we were like, okay, it's good, but as I said, it's the first year, like maybe the second year, but the first year we are into parawinging, and we think like some people they can't afford, as I said, a second parawing. So we were like, okay, why not doing a parawing with a cheaper material, a bit more heavy, that we can sell cheaper to parawingers that wants to get a second parawing without getting like 1,000 euros or $1,000 for it. So that's why we decided to make the Cloud one with same features but different canopy to make people afford second parawing mostly. You can have, of course, you can ride a Cloud one for just only your only parawing, but yeah, we really wanted originally to people to get a second parawing in the range.
I like that idea. I think in every sport, having the accessibility, and that also includes, schools that might want to teach, having something that, is affordable for the schools that will last, so a thicker material will last a little bit longer. If someone's, learning, they will, trash the parawing. They will be, scratching it on the sand when they're doing land drills and all that stuff. What's the thickness of the material of the Cloud one? It's Skytex 32 on the Cloud, and then what's the material you guys use on the Cloud one?
It's 54 grams. So it's slightly heavier. Yeah. But actually, it's for example, for the 2 meter. I mean, if you use a 2 meter, this is like a crazy wind.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you have a thicker material, in the long term, you will get like less elongation on the material. So also, actually, for good riders, if you want something durable, I think, for example, a 2 meter Cloud one for super heavy conditions works really good. I mean, the stretchability is less good than 32 Skytex material, but you have 2 meter of fabric. It's not a big deal, You can still stash it super easy. So
yeah, and I think it's like for people that don't know too much about the materials and stuff, with every kind of material used for paragliding or kiting or anything, the thinner you go, the more expensive things get, which is not like more material, more expensive. It's less material, more expensive, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yep.
And also, the problem right now in this industry is like we have the thinner materials are nylons for now. So nylons is not ideal for the water purpose. So we are trying to push the suppliers to develop some lighter fabrics in polyester, because polyester is better for water use, because the nylons tends to drink a bit of water. So with the nylons we use Skytex is very good because we have a very good induction on the material. But with the time, the induction can go away, and for the very long term, it's not ideal. So we try to push our supplier to get some thinner material with polyester, for example.
I like that.
But yeah, it's a battle between us and also the giants, because in the industry, most of it is textile, or for example, with Porsche is paragliding, and they don't need polyester. So they are not pushing, paragliding industry is not pushing for polyester because they don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and right now, parawing industry is very small compared to other industries. So we try to push, but we are not the only actor here. So
yeah, and I keep pushing, man. We need it because we ended up inheriting the Skytex from paragliding, which is fine. But like you said, paragliders don't go in the water. So to have something that's focusing on water use and things like that, I think there's still a potential there. I mean, obviously, we're a lot of the brands are in their first iteration of Parawings, and we're on a second generation of other brands. So there's still a lot of development to happen. But I want to go through both. Sorry, not both, but the Cloud. I have a little video here, and we can talk over the video so people can actually see a little bit what we're talking about. Just give me 1 second. I'll try to pull this up for us. And we can start maybe talking from the bar up to the Parawing, and we can talk about the design features of the Cloud. So let me know if you can see the screen.
Yeah.
So I have here the bar. Maybe let's start from the bar. Talk us through how you developed the bar. The bar is very different from other bars that I've used. It's not a carbon cylinder. You guys use a different shape. Tell us what were your thoughts when you were designing the bars?
This bar, actually, we designed it with the very first parawing we made, which was more for getting up and downwinding. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really had a lot of experience in parawing, but I think we did quite well for our first bar, because it's not super small, but it's not too long. Mm-hmm. And we have we have possibility to go quite close to the lines, the front lines, without cutting yourself with the main lines, for example. Mm-hmm. And also we wanted to do like a simple setup of lines, going like 3 points. It mm-hmm. was the at the time when we developed it was what we wanted. We didn't want some pulley or some different stuff from the bar. We wanted something simple. Mm-hmm. Also, because when you are new to the sport, the less you have in the bar, the better it is.
Yeah.
So I know we are missing some colors on the bar. We are working on it on the next generation of bars. Mm-hmm. I know we do. But we have also, we know for the future, we'll reduce probably the length of the bar, because for the stretchability, we know it's something we want to improve. 100%. But it's like a long process to develop the next parawing, so it's not for tomorrow. But we are really happy about this bar because it's light, it's full carbon molded, mm-hmm. It's quite comfortable, and it's also super easy to change. If you break a bridle, it's also super easy to change, because we have some small metallic, I don't know how to say.
The little connection points just underneath the sleeve, right? Just underneath there?
Yeah, which is super easy to open, change the bridles, mm-hmm. for any kind of people who break it, especially, again, when you're starting a sport like this. Maybe, I don't know, you're getting tangled or whatever, So you cut, I don't know, the bridles because you're like emergency or whatever. So you can change it quite easy also.
Nice.
And for the lines, the setup lines was very the main thing. We wanted to make the front lines the more simple possible, so we can stash it super easy. So that's why we put like only 4 lines going in the front of the bar.
Yep.
So we can
I want to
really
pause it here so
easy.
we can see it. Yeah.
Yes, we can see very well there.
So
we can
yeah,
really,
the A's here.
the A's, yeah, exactly.
When I saw it, Charles, the first time I pulled it out of the bag, I had just after I wrote it, I remember Gav put out his review on the Takoon, and I was so surprised he didn't mention the A lines because I was really impressed with this setup. This is how I stash the parawing. I do the A line stow and I use the middle 4 lines. And when I went to do a stow, I'm like, oh, there is only 4 here. There's not you can't get it wrong. And I'll let you keep, I'll let you continue because I want to continue the video as well because how you can stow this parawing is really unique. But you can finish. Sorry, your thoughts.
Yeah, sure. So again, the stashability was super important. So we wanted to get like the less bridles possible on the front lines to be able to stash it like on the one way. Mm-hmm. Also, you probably noticed the side A lines are actually going to the middle of the bar.
Yep. So these ones over here, they go to the B lines.
Yep. So you don't have to think about, oh, I only have to take the 4 lines. I don't have to take the side one. It's more intuitive to stop. Mm-hmm. And also we noticed like for the turnability of the wing, putting those lines on the middle of the bar made the parawing more
interesting, more agile.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's why we did this. So to make it more simple for stowing and also more agile.
Yeah. I'll continue the video just because I want people to notice one particular thing about this bridle setup. When you stow a parawing and you grab all the A lines, you're always left with an arc in the leading edge that you still can catch a lot of wind with. And when you stow the A lines on this one, you'll notice that the leading edge ends up pretty much in your hand, but there's no gap. And this is where the problem is a lot with the stowing. I find there's always a huge gap here in the leading edge, and it's really hard for you to grab all the A lines. So that's why we do the 4 A line stow, because in the end of the day, you want the smallest gap between all the lines here. But in saying that, when you have all the A lines at a similar length, you have a flatter shape in the canopy, right? So you have less of an arc because these lines will be shorter and these lines will be longer. But this flatter shape is also a challenging shape to work with, isn't it? Because it causes more instability. And this is from my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong. So how did you work through this? Because it's very hard to produce a flat leading edge or flat canopy shape that's still stable enough to go upwind and depower and all those things. So tell us how you did this, because this is probably one of the I think is one of the best features of this parawing is how you can actually grab all the A lines and actually stow this pretty quickly. I think I dropped a couple of seconds in my stow because of this.
Yes, we wanted actually it came quite naturally because of we wanted this stowing easy. So we definitely designed the bridles to be the more equal possible to, at the end, stow, like you said, without having too much of bagging on the sides. So it was quite challenging, but actually we managed it like quite good. I know we have work to do on the future because we have probably the iron sometimes is a bit challenging, probably also because of this feature. But it was natural because this is definitely something we wanted, like to end up at the same height with all bridles. This is what it was the entry of what we wanted.
I like that, man. This is I was very surprised. Like I was actually shocked. I'm like, oh my God, they forgot to connect the external A's when I first put it up. And then I started to understand it and was like, no, it's flying fine. This is it. So this is probably the most interesting thing I found on the Parawing when I first got it. Hey, LabRat fan, I want to invite you to the LabRat Academy, an online parawinging course. I will explain everything from the beginning, how the parawing works, choosing the right gear, safety, land drills, getting up on foil, staying upwind, stowing, and much, much more. I want to help you learn how to parawing in less than 30 days. You will also get access to weekly video calls with myself to discuss your progression and make sure that you are on the right track. I want to offer everyone who is listening to the podcast 10% discount on the course as a thank you for following on this crazy journey that parawing has been. Add LabRat10 when you're checking out, and visit labratfoiler.com to subscribe. Now let's get to the interview. So let's talk about the canopy as well, because the canopy, like you mentioned, you guys changed the shape of the parawing quite a lot compared to other brands, especially when it comes to the wingtips. So we have those wingtips that aren't super square. They're this curved shape. And this is more for the turbulence, right? So just to prevent wingtip flattering or collapsing.
Yeah, we've tried, as I said, we tried different shape of canopy, and we found with actually some brands have square. It doesn't mean it's bad, but with our setups of bridles, and we found there was more instability on the tips, so we wanted to reduce this cord on the sides to be able to get the good air. I mean, the good air in the middle of the canopy, and the dirty air, like not so efficient, out of the parawing. So that's the main thing, and we are happy about it because also we think having this shape also helped us to get more maneuverability on the parawing, because the brakes really close to there is less cord on the brakes, so you have more possibility to turn the parawing with this setup.
Nice. And then when we look at just the color schemes, like everything is there, leading edge, separate color from, the main canopy. And I also like this little trim on the trailing edge. It definitely helps you. If you're looking at just the main part of the canopy, that your parawing is inverted. So I think that's also helpful, along with these two little points here in the leading edge. When the parawing's in the water and you're just collecting it, like it's submerged, and you want to find the middle of the parawing, sometimes it's really hard. And having these, that you're close to the middle portion of the parawing, which I quite like as well.
Yeah. Well, yes, I actually, I was, when I was starting the sport, I was like, where do I put my hands to put the canopy out of the water? So I was like, why don't you put two signs on the canopy so we can grab it like this, and where to put your hands, and you grab it like this, and it goes, it flies. So we try to match the bridles with the front canopy and the brakes with the trailing edge of
Trailing
the
edge.
parawing.
Yeah, man, this is quite a unique design. I really enjoyed what you guys came up with, and you guys also have boards. So you guys are designing boards that are specific to parawing riding, which we don't have too many in the market at the moment. So talk us through your boards and what are you doing over there?
Yeah, the boards. I started with the MIG length from winging. So 80 liters, something like this. I'm 75 kilos, so like just above my weight. So if you, I'm sure you see when you are just above, it's just above your head, your weight. The nose of your board is always on the lines, and maybe sometimes catch some small bumps, and the water can go on the top of the nose of the board. So with the mid-length wing mid-length we have, this happens. So like we need to develop something different because the way we pump wing, the way we pump the powering is different. We put like we do more pumping on with the legs, and if you get some water going over the nose, it's like quite difficult to manage, and you lose your speed, and then you fall. So we wanted to add some to make the volume, the repartition of the volume differently to get like more width on the nose, and to catch less the chop, and so the chop doesn't go over the nose. So
I think that's really important, especially when it's over 20 knots and there's some bumps and the surface of the water is very
messy,
choppy. I think it also helps just and sometimes I switch my stance a little bit when I'm popping up. I want to go to the front of the board to engage the foil a little bit more, and if you don't have that nose volume, you're gonna sink the nose, and as soon as a little chop comes over the board, you're just diving. And to be honest, even when you have volume on the nose, the board will still dive, but it still keeps tracking rather than going down.
Yeah,
kind of like submarines, and just goes straighter through the water, and then it pops up, and you still maintain that speed, so you can still save the pop up when you're submerged. So I think that's really good. How what are the dimensions of the boards that you guys are creating?
This one, the 80 liters is 6.0. It's 21, I think. Let me check. No, 20 wide width, and 6.0, 20 width.
Nice. Yeah, I think a lot of people still think about the efficiency of the board coming from the thinness of the board, and they still have the downwinding mentality of an 17, 18, which is super, super narrow. And you don't need that on the parawing. It kind of makes the board track very straight, which is not necessarily the best thing, because the parawing is going left and right, and sometimes like a little bump comes through and you need to change that direction. So a little bit of width, I think it's important for people to understand. It'll make it much more stable for you and easier for you to change that direction when popping up.
Totally agree. And especially with a new sport like parawing, you don't want something unstable. So a bit of width helps for someone who is not super into parawing yet. But also, as you said, even for expert people, you don't need that super narrow board. If you go like for 10 knots parawing, okay, but it can help. But honestly, with the good technique and the good parawing, you don't need this super narrow board.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing I think also is I think we're all learning what mast lengths we want to use. Last year I was on an 80 mast for the entire year, and then towards the end of the year I started exploring a 85, and it was so much better for everything. Like I was touching down less, so the width of the board is not an issue. You're a little bit higher from the water. But also when you're powered up and going upwind, you can lean on the parawing a lot more. And I use a medium aspect foil, so it's not that much span, so I'm not breaching, but I can lean a lot more without touching the board on the water with an 85. And because I ride a 19 wide board, I was worried. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be touching this board all the time. But changing mast was a game changer for me. I'm riding upwind a lot faster, and just in general, in bigger conditions, I'm touching down less when turning and when just going upwind. So it was a good one for me.
Yeah, definitely. Me, I always used 95 centimeter mast.
Whoa.
But yeah, I believe I can understand your point of view. I think like you can, as you said, if you have like a mid aspect, if you don't have like a 13 aspect ratio foil, you have no problem to like lean on your foil and go upwind. Actually, yes, you do. Yeah, I totally understand what you mean about going upwind more with more angle.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me more of a kite foiling feel, because I was riding upwind so much faster as well. So I was like, "Oh, this feels like a kite now." That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
So Charles, you guys also developed some accessories, and right now I am really into accessories because we all have belts, and I think the belts are probably the accessory that every parawinger should have. Going into the water in onshore conditions is really tough with the parawing. So having it in the belt, paddling out, launching in the water, those kind of things, it just makes your life a lot easier. Talk us through a little bit the belts, and how you thought about creating the belt for Takoon.
Yeah, we are a brand, I think, that we don't only focus on the main products, but also what is everything around it. So straight away, we wanted to make some accessories to make the life easier for the parawingers. So the first stash belt we made, we wanted like because I'm living in a place where there are waves, so going in the water with the parawing on your hands, it's no way. And so this is probably one of the first thing we did when we developed the first parawing. Was like I need to start to do an accessories right now, because it's not possible to have it just with your hands. You can't paddle out or whatever. So we start with this first stash belt, and we are improving it right now. And also, as the sport is really new, we want to explore different way of stashing. So we saw some brands stashing from the top. We wanted to try to stash from the sides. It's a really different way, and we want to explore. Maybe we'll do a stash belt also from the top. We want to. It's just the beginning, so we don't have to put some limits. We wanted to test it like this, and we are happy about it, because when you go out in the shore break and you get some waves over your head, with this side stash belt, the water don't go inside from the top and don't open, and your parawing doesn't go over the floor.
Yeah.
So this is the first one, and we are continue to work on other accessories, some some I can't speak about, about everything.
Give us a little bit,
I wish.
Charles.
But yeah, also some hook, some the stash belt. You can put some knife to cut lines if you're tangled or whatever. We have some harness buckle. But we are working on a lot of other stuff. Yeah, right now. So because it's new sport, so we are all like, we just want some stuff to get our life easier, right?
Yeah. And it's so hard right now also because people are using the parawings for different things, right? Some people use the parawing for 30 seconds going downwind and then they don't use it for the rest of their session. I think for those people, stash belt, pretty easy. If you're using it on the waves, I think there's still a lot of opportunity to do something to help you stow the parawing quickly without having to fold it completely. I don't know, like you just pull the lines and just put it somewhere. But we also have different parts of the body that we can use. We have the front, we have the back, we have parawings that we take with us that we don't need to get out quickly. And we can just stop on the water. If you have a backpack, you can swap. Sometimes if I'm riding and I'm doing laps, I like to swap parawings on the fly. So right now I only have the opportunity to stow one parawing on the belt and then ride with the other one in my hand. And I actually just posted the other day a video about how to swap a parawing on foil. But I think there's still a lot of opportunity for us to create something where, you know, we have multiple ways to stow, multiple ways to carry parawings. How are you guys thinking about this universe of different disciplines, and what does each discipline need accessory wise?
Yeah, you're right. Each discipline needs different stuff. Someone who just want to free ride and be probably if you go free ride, maybe you want to be super light. You don't need so much things. But yeah, as soon as you go downwind or you do laps or whatever, yeah, you need different accessories. Maybe hydration also. Maybe like, as you said, like if you are tangled, you get another parawing for if you go downwind, long downwind, for example. So yeah, we are thinking about the different discipline. Also, maybe the racing will get some accessories because maybe the racing will be something in the future. In parawing, we don't know. I mean, we saw last year in the Defi one guy scratching everything.
He won by a little margin, didn't he?
Yeah, by a big margin. So maybe it will become something in the future. We don't know. So we are looking into a lot of different disciplines. We are of course focusing on the main product that is the parawing, but we are really we are actually looking a lot of your video guys like you and Gabe or whatever, because you are super interesting into the way you are using the parawing. It's super interesting, and your feedback help us a lot in developing the products around the discipline also. So thank you for this.
Oh, dude, if you ask me like to try a parawing and tell me what you think about it, I will definitely love doing that. I think there's still a lot for us to learn in the industry. I think now I'm getting a little bit more of an idea of, do we need multiple parawings for different disciplines? Yes, no, maybe, you know, like I think we're going to do this. We came from one spot. We're going to open up a lot, and then we're going to start converging back to kind of some, you know, fundamental principles that parawing should have. And I don't know where it's going to end up, but I'm interested to know a little bit from you, like a designer that's really immersed in the sport now. How do you see the future of the sport in the next 12 months? Like, what are you looking forward to?
I think Probably, we have very good parawings on the market right now that goes super good upwind. We can find it easy. Probably the main focus will be increasing the wind range. I think this is I think all the brands need to are working on this, because now that we know we do good parawings on the small wind range, we need to do like good parawings for like big wind range, so we don't have. If you get a second parawing in your back, it's not like the 2 meter because you have a 4 and you don't know if it's going to increase or whatever. It's also the one on your back is also a 4 meter in case you lose your 4 meter, because it would be the ideal things for me to get a 4 meter to go from 10 nuts to 40, but I don't know. We are working on it. We are like probably all other brands also, because we think it's, as I said, when I start winging, I had one wing, and we all know that it's very difficult for parawing. So probably it's a huge challenge for all the brands to increase this wind range. So I think for the next year it will be probably the main changes. Yeah.
I think that's definitely one in my list as well. A wider wind range. I think it makes the sport a little bit more accessible as well. Like I'm lucky enough that I have a lot of parawings at the moment. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like you have all of them, but I mean, realistically, it's not something that everybody will do. And I think having 2 parawings in a quiver that you can cover your wind range in your area, that would be pretty good.
Yeah,
that would be ideal.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think the other interesting areas are just like a beginner parawing, which you guys covered with the Cloud 1, something really accessible, something for schools. That I think there's still an opportunity there, but then also something for light wind. I think light wind parawing riding will open up parawinging in spots in the world right now, which is a little bit tough. 15 knots. I think people still don't see a reason why they would use a parawing. But in 15 knots, I go out with a 5 meter parawing and I have a ball, man. Like I learned how to tack in those conditions because it's super forgiving. It's super easy. And then slowly you bring those tricks into stronger winds, and it allows you to progress a little bit further. So light wind riding, I think, is still a challenge. I think then you go into maybe sub 32 Skytech materials, which is super expensive on a very big parawing. So the cost can also be something that is a challenge there. But I think those are the areas now that this year I'm just keeping my eyes open to see what happens.
Totally. We actually having a look into bigger sizes, like obviously, but not only for light wind, also because we noticed a lot of people who wants to go into parawinging, like or that are a bit heavier. They are afraid of having, because everybody said start with a 4 meter. Yeah, but if you're 100 kilo, you don't start with a 4 meter. So also the big sizes will come also for people who maybe not in the sport yet because they are afraid they are too heavy for it. So probably also it will be used for these people.
100%, man.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, really early on, I interviewed Sveni. He's a parawinger here in Western Australia, and he's really he's a tall guy, so he's a heavy guy, and he was struggling with just choosing the right parawing for him. So it's definitely it'll just open up the sport for more people, and I think in saying that, I always like to ask people that are really in love with the parawing right now, like why should people try parawinging? What is parawinging giving you access to that you wouldn't have access without one?
Yeah, parawing for me, I still wing actually, but parawing for me opens good session where winging is not good session. And for example, me in where I live, I have very good waves, but sometimes onshore waves. And with the wing, I'm always like having the wing in front and having troubles to manage it. Even I'm not too bad in winging, but still it's a mess when you have onshore wind with winging.
Yeah.
And for me, parawing like totally changed my life when onshore waves are there now. It's like
You're fine.
I feel like surf foiling almost.
Yeah.
It's so good. And also, it's from my side because I do a lot of waves, so small laps go for waves. But also in my area, it's not super good for downwinding. But for sure, if you want to downwind, forget honestly, I've heard in the southeast of France, a lot of people, it's really well known for downwinding. A lot of people sold their downwind paddle gears just to get like parawing and smaller board, and you do the same, even better, because sometimes in the southeast of France you get some offshore wind at the beginning of the downwind, so you can't stand up.
Super
if
flat.
you're a beast, you can stand, you can go on your fall, but if you are normal people, you have to be 2 kilometers away with your paddle to start. So, and with the parawing, you go out, you on the foil, and you go 2 kilometers in 2 minutes, and you go downwind for 20 kilometers if you want. So, yeah, for me, onshore conditions and downwind are the main. For me, it's the two main purpose of the parawing.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I really wish I had a parawing when I was learning how to sup downwind with the paddle. And I think the thing that the parawing really will allow people to do is once you're up, which you will learn very quickly on the parawing, the time on foil that you get to learn how to read the bumps will be so much bigger. I remember going on 5 kilometer like short little runs just to be able to learn, and I would ride for like 50 meters. And I was like, I was super happy. I did like that twice. You know, you pop up twice and you spend an hour and a half in the water. And on a parawing, you will pop up, you will try to ride the bumps like 10, 20 times in that 5 kilometer run. You'll come down because you're still learning, but the repetition and the amount of time on foil will make the progression in downwinding and learning how to read bumps so much faster. I think a lot of people will benefit from that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, it's so hard paddling. I mean, if you are a beast, like Hawaiian guys, it's okay. But,
yeah, for the normal people, not the mutants.
Yeah,
it's not that easy. Charles, I really enjoyed this conversation, man. I really admire what you guys are doing. I think this whole market of direct to consumer brands, you know, there's a big space for it, and I think, you know, people will find you guys. You're making the sport more accessible, so super happy to have you here on the podcast. Is there anything else you want to share with us, man? Anything that you guys are developing or launching in the future that we should look out for? Let us know.
Yeah, you should look into our boards. Yeah, we didn't only develop new shapes for parawinging, but we know from our experience and from the feedback from the clients, from the rider, from also you, from the people who are making reviews on everything, that the weight of the boards is very important. So we are working on new technology of boards, hollow, that's would reduce drastically the weight of the board. So right now, for example, 80 liters like this, like classic sandwich carbon technology is about 5.5 kilos, more or less. And the hollow board will be around 4 kilos. So we'll get like almost weight of 60 liter board. And I've tried it. I was totally mind blowing for me because of you don't get the swing weight of a big board. So when the ability of turning is mind blowing, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I can do this with a 80-liter board. It's quite crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think probably
no, go ahead. Finish. Sorry.
No problem. I think maybe in the future of parawinging, okay, it's more expensive, this kind of technology. But for people who are very into it, it will become probably a mainstream thing. For me, when I first went out of the water, I called my boss. I was like, when we started, it was aluminum mast, and now it's carbon mast. Now it's the same with board. For me, it's like going from a aluminum mast to a carbon mast, but with boards. It's like this. So
we can see in the background there's a little hollow something being built there, halfway done. So I'm excited to see that.
This was a surfboard. I made one myself a long time ago, a smaller one. I had a project to do a longboard, but I was like, okay, the first one was difficult enough. I won't do a longboard, but I keep it in my place. It's nice.
I see. I think I really love those big paradigm shifts. And when you talk about aluminium mast to carbon mast, that was definitely one. Maybe hollow boards and conventional boards will be another one. I think I saw a lot in AWSI this year, the new kind of masts that people are adopting for the boards, like more tuttle masts versus the plate masts. Do you have any views on that? I think that's a huge one that it's kind of overlooked at the moment.
We are not really into it yet. I've talked a lot about it with some racers. And the problem is, depending on the foil you use, the total can be different on the wrong place for one foil to another. So we know our clients, they don't always want to buy Takoon foil, for example. They want to buy other brand foil and put in our board. The other way. So for now, we don't want to make it too complicated and force the client to go full Takoon, even we would like, but we want to give the liberty of for this. But maybe in the future we have a look into it. But right now I think it's probably a niche, maybe.
Yeah. And it might be also for like people who are really trying to extract the most performance out of their gear. But I'm currently kind of looking into it and getting interested in that little niche right now. But good stuff, Charles. Look, I appreciate your time, mate. Again, congratulations on the projects. I hope to see you guys continuing to put more innovation into the products and get some cool stuff out there. If anybody wants to find you guys, the website, takoon.com, you'll find everything there for parawinging. And thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
No worries, man. We'll catch you soon.
See you. Bye.